Jump scare. Jump scare. Hello everyone, I need all of you to say hi to Milo, a small kitten who jumped up in my lap moments before I hit the button, was being so normal, and then immediately, like as soon as I was ready to hit the go button and start to scream, she was like, no, I need to scream, and I need to get in your lap, but I need to make biscuits right now, is what she says. Right now, she needs to make biscuits. She needs to make biscuits. Anyway, yes, I was looking at this Vesper that we finished last time because I did realize that I mucked up the shading an teensy bit. Yeah, it's this layer, okay. And there is just a little cat making little biscuits on me actively right now. Milo. Milo. Hi. You're a baby. You're a okay, and she's done. She's officially done, which means that I can actually start the stream unless she comes back in the next like 13 seconds, which yup, here she comes, and she's back in my lap. Hi, babish. Hello, Bingus. Oh my gosh, she's just a little baby blorble Bingus. But yeah, hi guys, happy Monday. How are we doing? How are we feeling? What's the vibe? Hello, Milo. You being an emotional support cat now? See, where was my emotional support cat when I was trying to take a power nap earlier? You could have come and snuggled with me then, but now you want to come and snuggle me while I'm trying to get my work done. So here's what happened. Oh, nails, claws in my stomach. Okay, Milo, you're so cute. Please make biscuits on the blanket so that your claws do not enter my lower intestine. Thank you. Okay. But yeah, hi everybody. I hope you all are having a cool Monday. I'm just gonna let her wear herself out, and then we'll see what she does. But yeah, so I will go ahead and say right up here at the top that Star is eepy today. Star is very eepy today. Because I was at a convention all weekend. I was not tabling, I was not vending, I was just there as an attendee, and it was great fun. I had a wonderful time. I got to hang out with a bunch of friends, I got to go shopping, I got to like do a bunch of stuff. I ran my how to web comic panel. We had a grand old time. But I didn't because I was there, you know, all 3 days of my weekend, I didn't really get to, oh, okay, Milo, Jesus Christ. She just like leapt the fuck off my, what made you do that? What scared you, baby cat? Oh my god. Anyway, she just got jump scared by fucking something. Anyway, I enjoyed my day, my weekend at Le Convention, but what happened is that I then did not really get the decompression time that I usually get on my weekends. And so your girl is a wee bit eepy today. Just a little eep and beeps. A little bit sleeps. I was, you know, today's a work day. I was trying to get my work done, but I was distracted by a few things this morning. I was like, oh, the distraction is so much fun. I'm having so much fun with the distraction. But then I was like, no, I do need to get work done today. I don't even have that much I need to do today, but I do need to like get thumbnails for the next comic scene done. So I got thumbnails done, but it took me a little bit longer than I anticipated. And then I went to go take a little power nap right before stream, and then I my head hit the pillow and my eyes closed, and then my alarm went off like as soon as I had like actually drifted off to have a little nap. And I was like, ah. My go to stream alarm, and I was like, ah, dang it. Dang it. So if I seem eepy today, it is because I am. I'm eeps. I'll be okay though. If I seem a little tired, it's because I am. I am tired. That is the thing that is true. Also, real quick, right here at the top of stream, let me just go ahead and remind you guys that, hey, you see this cute little plushie on my shoulder right here? You should see it? You see this little plushie on my shoulder? That's Ariana plushie, and you know what? There's like only a week left to get one of those. Those are funding now on Makeship, and when I went to go take my nap, we only had 2 more left to hit 300 plushies. So, oh, we've officially passed it. We're at 301. Let's go. But there is a link at the top, pinned at the top of chat, and there is also a link in the description below the video. If you guys want to get an Ariana plushie of your very own, you only have until next Monday to do so. It technically ends like early morning on Thursday, but I'm just gonna say it ends like Monday night because time zones and all, right? For me, it ends like at 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. But who wakes up before 7 a.m.? Aside from crazy people. I wish I could wake up a little bit earlier sometimes, but I've gotten really used to like the time I currently fall asleep, which is like right around midnight. And that makes it hard to wake up any earlier than like 8 or 8:30. I'm one of those people. I need to have a full 8 hours of sleep or I don't function correctly. It guts to have my full 8 hours. So that's the thing, is like, you know, I do a whole lot of stuff. I do 1 bajillion things. I have 12 jobs in a trench coat, and that's just what I do for work. And my friends are always like, Star, how do you have time to sleep? Star, how do you do all that much stuff? And like, make sure that you're getting enough sleep. And I'm like, every time they bring that up, I'm like, you fools. You don't even know how much EP time I get. I have spent years of my life training myself, pouring all my skill points into hyper efficiency, into Dandori, so that I can get all my shit done and still get a full 8 hours. Because I take my sleep schedule very seriously, so that I can get all my shit done in a timely manner. Still have time for a full 8 hours of CPs. Oh, hello, ma'am. Hello. You come back? Yup, she sure shit has. Hi, baby cat. She's back. Have you recovered from whatever the hell it was that you saw that jump scared you off my lap? I don't know if she has. Okay. She's just a critter. She's just a little critter. But I mean, I feel like that's one of the reasons why I like Pikmin so much. They gamified my mental illness. My need for constant hyper-efficiency at all times shall be rewarded by the video game with all the cute little tiny plant creatures doing their very best. Milo, hello. They attached gamification to my mental illness. It's Pikmin time. Hello. Okay, and now she's settling and she's making biscuits again. Till I'm sure she will eventually launch herself off my lap a second time. Because she is a crazy creature. She's a crazy little animal. And she is once again sticking her claws into my lower intestines. Milo. She's just, the problem with Milo is that she is so little and she's like so soft. She is genuinely an extremely soft cat. Which means I just want to, like, sit here and pet her and not do my work. I just want to sit here and pet her. I just want to pet her. I don't want to draw blurbos. I want to pet baby cat. She's very soft. She's shedding. Gross. I wasn't there to stream yesterday because I was at a convention. I was gone. I was away. I was touching grass and saying hi to guys in real life. I was like, hey guys, how's it going? And they were like, cool. And I was like, yeah, human contact. Wow. But yeah, my webcomics panel was scheduled for yesterday at noon, and my Sunday streams usually start at 11, and so I was like, yeah, we're not streaming today. And I did say that in previous streams. Just like in general, if there's not a waiting room, like the day before a stream, just assume that there will not be a stream that day. I usually, you know, plan stuff well enough in advance that people have time to mentally prepare. And there goes Milo. She has exited my lap. Okay. Yes, we are drawing Cameron today. Cameron is one of my new baby Blorbos. I've talked about them on stream before. What? Yeah? You're having thoughts? Thoughts and opinions? You coming back to the lap? You keep leaving and coming back. You're like a bad ex. You keep leaving and coming back. She's just a baby. She can't help it. She's indecisive. She wants to sit in front of the window and wag her tail and look at all the creatures outside. And she wants to be in my lap making biscuits. Can't help it. She wants everything. She wants everything. But yeah, I've been working this art, this and my Vesper and the one more, character that I'm drawing. These are all going to be for my September video, which I have been poking at the script at in the background. I'm hoping to have it done by like mid-September, early mid-September, first half. I've been poking at the script during my free time for the last couple of days. And it's coming along, but it's a little bit complicated. It's one of those things where it's like, at first I was, you know, potentially trying to shove too many things into one video. My goal was to make it a, it's a video where I kind of drop a little bit of advice about world building while simultaneously talking about my own. But my sponsor was like, hey, do you want to potentially like get a little bit more money by advertising our product a little bit more? And I thought it was like, it's Milanote again. And so I was like, I could potentially do that. Let me try and include like, you know, 2 minutes up front and then 1 minute per character, just like kind of showing off the Milanote boards I made for each of them. And trying to shoehorn in a lot of discussion about the design while I was more so trying to talk about like the different aspects of their story and how it's helping me like develop the world for this shared universe I'm trying to come up with. It was kicking my ass and it was messing with the flow of the video, and so I'm on like draft 3. And I'm like, I think I just need to tell Milanote that I would rather have a like more cohesive video than insert a little bit more like advertising time for more money dollars. So you're welcome, by the way, audience. I'm sacrificing several $100s to give you guys a more cohesive video instead of just taking sponsor money. Milanote's married to you for real. They love me. They love me very much, and they want to give me money. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, so I am in the process of poking away at that video. The script I'm hoping to get done by the end of the week, but I don't know if I'll manage that. We'll have to see. I'm gonna try, but I'm not going to die over it, you know? If the script doesn't get finished until after San Japan, then it doesn't get finished till after San Japan, and we're just gonna roll with that. For those who do not know, San Japan is a big old convention I'm going to at the end of the month. It's not this weekend, it's the coming weekend, and now that Colossal Con is over, which is a con that I was at this weekend, I'm kind of focusing on just getting all my stuff together before San Japan, as well as finishing a bunch of other stuff that's just kind of been on the back burner that needs to get done. For example, I got a reminder email from my accountants a few days ago, and they reminded me, it's like, hey, you need to submit your tax docs by the first weekend of September, or we're gonna charge you a rush fee to get all of your filing done for 2024, because I had to file an extension, because I was moving, like, right around the time I was supposed to submit my taxes for the year, and so I asked my accountant for an extension, and the extension is due in October, so I thought I had a little bit more time, and I was gonna earmark, like, a weekend to do it. And then my accountant sent me an email on Friday that was like, hey, by the way, you need to get it done by, like, first week of September so we have time to file it. And I was like, oh, Baines. So I have earmarked all day tomorrow to finish doing my taxes. I did, to my credit, I did start a while back. I just hadn't found time to go back and finish. I have to go, like, finish my tax organizer and let them know how much money I made and all that other shit. But ideally, it shouldn't take that long, and probably only, like, like an hour or two, hopefully. But tomorrow, I have it earmarked, like, my to-do list for tomorrow, quite literally, it reads in my planner, and I posted pictures of this on Blue Sky, so you guys know I'm being serious. Tuesday is finish your fucking taxes and sleep for the rest of the day. And each of those is a check mark. So I have one check mark for finish your fucking taxes, and I have another check mark for sleep for the rest of the day until therapy in the evening. That's my fucking to-do list for tomorrow. I gotta get my damn taxes done. I have to be an adult and I have to do shit. Disgusting. But I'm treating myself, and if I finish on time tomorrow, I can go get boba from the place around the corner. So ideally, I will also have time to do that. We'll see. We shall see. Commit tax evasion? No. No, I'm not gonna do that. Listen, I do not fear many things in this life, but IRS audits are one of the things that I fear. So, we're not doing that. We're not committing tax fraud, and we're definitely not admitting to it on a YouTube live stream. I don't commit tax fraud, I commit tax God, because I'm so good at paying someone to file my taxes for me. I do it so good. Wow. Eeps. I am Eeps, chat. Chat, did you know that I'm Eeps today? I'm Eeps today, it's true. Oh, so one of the fun things about this weekend, going to that con, was there was a panel that I went to that was a writing workshop panel. It was like a writing critique panel where people could, like, bring in their writing and you could show it in front of people and they would give you some critiques. And I have not done something like that in a very long time. And it was very, very nice, and I learned a lot, and I had fun, and Milo's back. Hi, Milo. And she's just using me as a crosswalk to get to the other half of my desk, and she's wagging her tail, and it's hitting the microphone. Hi, Milo. Are you here to be a creature? Are you here to be a criatura? A little baby? A little baby, you're so soft. You're so soft. Get your butt off my desk. I can't reach my keyboard. Thank you. Just a baby, chat. And she's back in my lap. She's resuming her work at the biscuit factory. Milo, I feel like you're a little bit unpredictable to have a full-time job at the biscuit factory. Yeah? Yeah? Are you being a little baby? Are you being a little baby? Can I jiggle you? Can I jiggle you? Okay, bye. She's just a baby. Cat, your employee, she wishes. She wishes. She's not really reliable enough. I can't have her do my taxes. She doesn't know what a number is. Which means I still have to do them all myself. But yeah, so I went to that writing workshop, and I will admit I was a wee bit nervous at first, but before the end of the panel, I did submit my writing, and we read some stuff, and I got some real good critiques. I submitted that last short story I wrote a while back, and while that is no longer considered canon, I was mostly looking for advice on, like, if my words word good. Because, I mean, that's the thing, right? You know, that's kind of what I struggled with, and I feel like that panel really made me, like, it pointed out some more areas that I kind of was struggling with and having a hard time articulating. But, you know, getting the work in front of other eyes of, like, people who read a lot and were able to, like, spot things, is they were like, I was like, yeah, because, you know, I'm not a new writer. I'm not a stranger to putting a story together. I'm not a stranger to any of that. What I'm new at is prose and, like, not having pictures to rely on. Blanket's all messed up in my chair. There we go. And so my thing was, one of the things that folks said was that, like, my descriptions were good, but not necessarily descriptive enough. And I realized kind of what we figured out in the panel is because I'm so used to just drawing things that I was describing things and drawing them as though they would be illustrated. And I was just like, and they were like, I don't know why you put the description of, like, this particular thing here. I feel like this would be more impactful if you put it later. And I realized is like, because if this was a comic, the description is located where I would put a panel that shows all of the things that I'm talking about in this moment. But because it's a book, it was one of those things. But it was good to, like, you know, get some new eyes on the work of people that's, like, not people who know, like, my characters and my stories and kind of what I'm going with, because it was good to, like, get a little bit of outside perspective. A little bit of outside perspective is always good for trying to make your work stronger. Because, like, one of the things they said in that panel was, you are not going to be around to defend your work when other people are reading it. And so it's good to just, like, hear people's reactions from the outside, you know? Like, this is how a normal, everyday person is reacting to my work, and that is a good thing to know. Have someone trash your work? Got it? Absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying, even a little bit. Because if a critique makes you feel like trash, then the critique is bad. There is a difference between a solid, constructive criticism and someone just being shitty to you and insulting your work. Those are two extremely different things. And Milo's back. Hi, bubbies. Hello. Pat this kitty pet. Generally, when you are giving critique, you don't want to just say, hey, this is shit. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. You want people to actually give you, like, constructive feedback. Like, hey, I think you did this well, but I think that this part is a little bit weaker, and here is why. all this other kind of stuff. It's pointing out things that you as the writer could improve on without making you feel like a piece of shit. Now, here's another thing, is that when people give you constructive criticism, you have to learn how to accept the constructive criticism. You don't have to implement every single piece of constructive criticism that is given to you. But also you have to understand that constructive criticism is not necessarily an insult to your work, and you should not get overly defensive about the work mentioned. Because, like, how you grow is by working and improving at your product, and how you improve is by figuring out areas that you can and should improve. And the way you do that is by listening to critique. Again, you don't have to fully implement every single critique you ever get, because sometimes people are going to read your work and they'll give you critique, but you're kind of angling to do something specific with the work. And sometimes people won't know that unless you tell them. And so they'll be like, hey, I don't think that in this scene Bob should talk to the alien. But you're trying to write a story where a guy kind of like gets to know an alien. And so it's like, well, no, he kind of needs to for the story to make sense. Like, that's maybe not the best example. I was trying to think of something off the top of my head, but like, people don't necessarily know what you're trying to do in your story. If you're trying to get like specific critique, it is good to tell that. But with something like this writing workshop, where it was just like, we'll read 1,000 words of your story, like the first 1,000 words, and like kind of tell you what our initial thoughts are. You're not going to get as detailed in something like that. Milo, please, baby. Please, baby. She's just a baby. She's just a baby. And she is making biscuits. She is everywhere. She's just, oh, she's sinking. She's sinking a little bit. Ugh. Hi, Milo. But yeah, so in general, it was like good to, you know, get some other advice, get some additional like feedback and eyeballs on the work. And I'm not planning on rewriting that short. I mostly wrote it for practice, and while it's no longer canon, and I could tweak it to be canon, I don't necessarily feel the need to. I think it works okay the way it is now, and I'm just gonna leave it like that. But I am, you know, still in the process of brainstorming world building and writing the outline for the eventual Lapis novel, and theoretically like other ones as well. I want to do a Verity novel at some point as well, and probably also a Vesper one, and any others that I end up coming up with along the way. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi, chicken. But yeah, right now I've just been kind of in the brainstorming world building and working on the outline and trying to get an outline at least decently put together before NaNoWriMo in November. Hi. Hi, Milo. But yes, so this segue, this is Cameron. This would be a character in the Vesper novel at least, might also show up in the Verity novel. Because if I do a Vesper novel, it's going to be a prequel to the Verity novel, and I'm not sure how much like overlap they would necessarily have. But Cameron might show up in the Verity novel, depending on where I go with it. Milo. Milo. Are you a baby chicken? Are you a baby chicken? Are you a baby chicken? Hi. Hi. Oh my goodness! Hi! She's just a creatora. Hi. She just looks at me with her big ol' eyes. Her big ol' kitty cat eyes. She's just so cute. Why aren't you ever this cuddly when I'm like actually like sleeping or in the mood for cuddles? She always wants to cuddle when I am not in the mood. She has horrible cuddle timing. She's being very cute now. Being very cute now. Very cute and cozy cuddles. But I wish he was cuddling with me earlier. When I wasn't trying to work. Because he's being very distracting. Yes, he is. You're being distracting. Least convenient cuddles, exactly. Yeah, so I yapped a lot about... Milo, I yapped a lot about Vesper's story on the previous stream. And I won't repeat myself too much there. But just in case folks didn't see that stream, a little bit of a refresher is that Vesper here is one of Rodin's great-grandkids. After Verity died, Rodin was real fucking emo about it. Ended up adopting a tiefling daughter. And then several generations later, you get Vesper. So Vesper also has Verity's last name by my Milo. So she's Vesper Noblesse. I'm trying to decide if I want to give her like a hyphenated last name. Milo, don't chew on my mic stand, please. She's Vesper Noblesse Donborough II. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the hyphenated last name, but I do think it's fun. So I might keep it. For the time being, I'm probably just gonna use Vesper Noblesse, though. It's a little easier. And so, again, like, she, you know, her great-grandma was adopted, but she is, like, one of Rodin's grandkids. Cameron here is actually a distant descendant of Mira and Darius. So their name is Cameron Seltress, actually, just like Mira Seltress. And that's very cute to me. And so I'm going to talk about their, like, whole backstory and kind of what figuring them out added to the narrative and all this other stuff in my September video. Because, again, I've been working on the script and it's coming along pretty well at this point. I just have to finish the last little bits of it and then, you know, like, do revisions and things of that nature. But Cameron is basically... So... A little bit of background before we get into it. And all this is subject to change. Don't take any of this as gospel, because I may change it later. But what I have right now is that after Verity passed away, you know, Mira and Darius started dating. They ended up getting married. They had a bunch of kids. Darius became, like, a very accomplished mage. He ended up inventing several spells and, like, magic devices that are still really commonly used in the current day. And his descendants are all very well taken care of as a result. He also established a magic academy. He founded a magical academy. Cameron, being his, like, great-grandchild, would naturally have automatic admission into this magic academy, but Cameron is so determined to, like, prove themselves and prove that they're, like, worthy of their family name that they actually submit their application under a pseudonym just to see if they could actually get in on their own merits, and they do. And so they're, like, very proud of themselves, and they're, like, going to school, and they're ready to learn, and they're doing so well, and they get, like, they're very introverted, but they still get along well with all their classmates, and everything's going great until suddenly it's not. Because what happens is, and this is something that I ended up, like, figuring out kind of in the process of world building, is Cameron did not originally have horns. Cameron is a very small part, but Cameron is part Sindarin, just like Vesper is, which is this universe's version of tieflings. I've reworked them a little bit. I'm not going to go fully into detail. I'll leave that for the video, but basically they're not tieflings. They're tieflings, but I reverse engineered them to be different while keeping the same, like, design, the visual designs, because I like that part. And Sindarins usually grow in their horns when they're very young. Like, they start growing their horns in when they're about a year old, or at least they start showing signs of horn growth at about a year old. Cameron here is mostly human with a touch of elvish. I almost said Elvis. With like a touch of Elvish. And so they mostly look human, but they have like the slightly pointed ears. And they, you know, thought growing up that that's all they were. And then they hit puberty and they start growing horns. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here? They figure out that they had like a great grandmother or somewhere along those lines that was Sindarin. And just for whatever reason, the Sindarin traits just like did not develop with like their grandfather or their father. Skipped 2 generations and then slammed into Cameron. And so they started growing horns when they were like 13, which is way later than most Sindarins would have ever grown horns at all. So very much a late bloomer on this baby. But because it's so unusual for someone who's part Sindarin to grow in their horns that late, other students at the academy start the rumor that they're cursed. And because it doesn't help that also, I've talked about this in videos where there's like learned and gifted magics, where it's like learned magic is what you study, gifted magic is like innate magical abilities. It's kind of, every person basically has a My Hero Academia quirk. And whether or not you figure out what your little magic superpower is kind of up to you and your circumstances. There's a lot of people who have gifted magic, but they never quite figure out what it is. And Cameron was one of those people who like hadn't figured out what their gifted magic was, but they figured they'd, you know, figure it out eventually. Cameron actually ends up getting, they have lightning abilities. Because Sindarins are elemental, and so a lot of people with Sindarin blood in them, they are prone to having elemental-based abilities. For example, Vesper has wind abilities, and not everyone who has, like, Sindarin in their bloodline has elemental abilities, but Cameron ends up inheriting that as well, along with the horns and a few other traits. And, you know, that's fine and normal, except for the fact that because of circumstances, lightning is considered kind of a bad omen in the universe. Because there is an evil banished god of chaos, and one of his signature things is storms, like lightning storms and earthquakes and all these other like natural disasters. And so having lightning abilities kind of implies some sort of affiliation with him. And so he's like, Cameron suddenly grows horns out of seemingly nowhere and suddenly discovers they have lightning abilities. Everyone thinks that they're cursed. And like other students start rumors. The teachers try to like calm it down and be like, they're not cursed. Da-da-da-da-da. But like the other students are just like, no, they're super cursed. Everyone stay away from Cameron because they're like cursed. They have like evil villains in their backstory or whatever. Eventually, they can't take it, and they drop out of school, and they end up becoming a little bit of a hermit. And so that's kind of where they are mentally when they first meet Vesper. And that's kind of where I want to leave it for now, but just basically, you know, like, they're trying to overcome all of these, like, rumors and fear of people and all these anxieties that, like, made them want to drop out of school and potentially, like, ruin their future. But they just couldn't take all of, like, the weird looks from other people. And so they're, like, very self-conscious. They have a lot of baggage. And they are actively trying to work through it. And Vesper is trying to help them as well, while also working through her own stuff. And they're just babies. They're just babies. So I don't know exactly what kind of little adventures that Vesper and Cameron would be going on yet. That is still something where it's like, I want them to go on some kind of little guy adventure, but I'm not sure exactly what I want the adventure to be just yet. But for now, they're just little baby blorbos. Little baby blorbos who live in my brain. Spin them around. Group therapy with Vector in the everyone's scared of me department. Kind of, but it's less that they're scared of Cameron and more that, like, they think he's cursed. It's like, if you get too, it's like, don't talk to Cameron, they're cursed. They they're a child of that evil god that got banished and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's not true. It's just, you know, kids can be cruel and people started rumors and then they kept spreading and Cameron just could not deal with it. But yeah, so part of their motivations is like they want to prove themselves, to prove that they're not cursed, and they want people to go back to respecting them. They want their bright future back, dang it, is another thing. But they're so terrified of judgment from other people. Can't relate, personally. Rejection sensitivity? What's that? I don't have that. Shut up. Don't say anything. Oh, hi, Milo. Hi. What are you doing? You being a baby? You being a little baby Beavis with the big ears? Yeah? I know you are. You're a baby. Hello. Okay. And she's back, ladies and gamers. Ladies and gamers. Hi, Milo. Hi, Milo. Yeah, so Cameron is the second of 3 characters that I'm going to be designing for this video and for a hypothetical eventual storyline. But the Lapis and Laz novel is taking the center stage right now. That one is still my highest priority. I don't want to scare people into thinking I've abandoned my babies because I haven't. Like, point in fact, talking about like what this video is and what I'm going to be doing with it, the September video, is literally talking. It's like, hey, I'm writing a fantasy universe, but I'm not especially great at world building. So one of my favorite ways to figure out ideas for what I want to do with my fantasy universe is to try and figure out what kind of stories I want to tell, what kind of characters I want to include in that story, what those characters can do, what their families and relationships are like, figuring out all that stuff, and then using that to inform the world building. And the Azure Mirage novel, the one that Lapis and Laz are going to be starring in, the character roster for that story is pretty set at this point. Like, I might add some minor characters, just to, like, fill in spaces, but I'm probably not going to do anything, like, no new major characters in that story. And, so having another outlet in the same universe that will allow me to throw other characters, at the story, has been helpful. So the problem is that Vesper has big main character energy and she will not be content to just be like a minor side character in the Verity novel when that eventually comes out. She's gonna want her own book. And so that is kind of the problem that I'm having now, is that I keep coming up with little babies that I love very much. And I just want to put them, I just want to write a story for all of them, but that's so much. You're getting some juicy spoilers. I wouldn't necessarily call it spoilers. All of this stuff is subject to change anyhow. This is just me kind of like brainstorming out loud more than anything. Will these be a comic as well? Absolutely not. Comics take too damn long, and so I'm kind of like doing prose. I'm like writing actual, you know, like novels for all of these stories. I might do some like little side comics, just like in my sketchbook and stuff, but I am not doing these as webcomics. I simply would die if I tried. Cast Off is my priority. And also, you know, I want to have some fun in a new medium. You have enough on your plate? Lord knows I do. Lord knows I have enough to do already. Like I said in the last stream, I think I said this, is that one of my favorite things about writing that I've discovered recently is that you can just write a thing and then you're done. You can just write it and then that's the start and end. You write it and then it's done and it's ready to share with people. And as someone who has, like, mostly, you know, written, like, comic scripts, where you write it and that's just the beginning, because after you finish writing it, then you gotta draw all that. There's, like, extra steps. Or also, you know, video scripts, where you write it and then you have to go make a whole video about it. The wonderful thing is that with writing, you just write it, and then you're done. And then that's it. You can show people, you're done. That's it. Congratulations. Confetti. Like, you've done it. You've done it. You finished it. And so I'm just like, wow. Like, I remember how good it felt when I finished, like, the little Laz short story. I was like, wow. This feels awesome. I wrote it and I'm done. I don't have to do any more to it. I don't have to draw it. Let's go. It can just exist as a written thing. It's awesome. So I want to embrace that. I want to get more into writing. And I would love to eventually have printed books for all of these. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I have to actually, I still have to actually write the damn thing. But I would also like to get some copies printed. I think that would be cool. I would love to hold a printed book that I wrote in my hands. And I know I've done that for Cast Off. I've already done that before. I printed so many books. But I think it would be cool to, like, have a novel. I think it would be cool to do a regular novel instead of just a graphic novel. I would like that. Printing a book, what a novel idea. But all right, get out of here. Boo, booze you off the stage, boo. Star's publishing media like she's collecting Pokemon. Yeah, watch me just, like, play around in every type of medium. All of them, forever. After doing a novel, I will then be switching over to making a visual novel. Every novel type. I have to hit all of them. Bing, bang, boom. I think I said this on the last stream, but I was considering doing, like, all of these as visual novels. But I'm not especially interested in game dev. Not especially interested in that. So, Star visual novel will happen when I can get someone else to do the coding for me. But until then, don't hold your breath. But yeah, I have kind of been thinking about how I want to tackle the actual writing of these books once it's time to sit down and write. And I'm almost thinking, like, what if I kind of approach it like a comic script at first? Because for my comic scripts, what I do is I just write dialogue and then I write simplified stage directions. So I could, in theory, just to make things a little easier and faster for myself, is I could write a version of the script of the novel, sort of like a comic script, and then write a second version where I go in and, like, add descriptions and, like, I add, like, little bits of dialogue and action thing. I could, like, write it as a comic script adjacent format first, and then transition it over to a novel. I don't know if that would make things unnecessarily complicated, but maybe it's kind of like a weird kind of in-between. I could potentially do that as my first draft. I might try that. I don't know how well it would work, though. Sounds like a good idea. Flesh it out as you go. Yeah, I'm gonna see how well it works. We will see. We will experiment. Let me check something. How are we doing on Ariana plushies? Still at 302? Wow. Wowie zowie. And then I will make another one on top. Add a stroke. Little decorative knot there. I wanted to give Cameron a lot of dangles, because I imagine it's the kind of thing where it's like, when they get anxious, they fiddle with them. They have, like, a bunch of stuff just kind of hanging off of them that they can fiddle and play with when they're anxious. Because same, buddy. Let's see, what else can I yap about? I think I've kind of already exhausted my conversation topics, and we're only an hour in. Ah, shit. Oh, I guess this is something I can talk about. So I've been using a writing software called Obsidian to do a lot of my like brainstorming and writing notes down stuff. The problem with Obsidian is that the free version only like doesn't do cross device saving, and so you have to pay for it. But I did end up like shilling out for a 1-year subscription, so that I could have cross-platform saved, like it's a game, cross-device savings. So it's like I could work on a file on my computer and then go to my bedroom and work on that same file, like in bed on my laptop or something. I'd be able to do that, and it would just like be the exact same file, kind of like a cloud service, like cloud storage. And so I finally did that, and so now I have Obsidian. It's just an app on my phone, so I can access my scripts whenever the hell I want, which means that when I am in line at like the grocery store or whatever, I can just pop open my script and start writing. And so, okay, the thing is, like, yeah, I do most of my writing in like Google Docs, but Google Docs doesn't have dark mode, and also the organization is way fucking easier on Obsidian, because in Obsidian you could just like switch back and forth between like different files that you have open, and it's so fucking easy. Meanwhile, if I want to do that in Google Docs, I have to like go out and it's like anti-ADHD. It does not let me easily switch. But Obsidian does, and Obsidian has local dark mode, and you can add a whole bunch of extensions that make it a lot easier to use. And I have Obsidian on my phone now, so now when I'm sitting out in the parking lot and I'm waiting on my groceries, I can work on scripts and writing, and I'm genuinely kind of excited because one more thing to distract me from doom scrolling. Yippee! Yippee! Less doom scrolling for Star. Love that for me. Yeah, because I figure I've got YouTube scripts, and that's kind of what I'm focused on right now, just because I have a deadline. But also I want to put some of my cast-off scripts in there as well, because I've been working on it. I'm still not done with the rough draft script version for chapter 14, and I'm rapidly approaching the end of chapter 13, and I'm just like, oh god, you know, it's gonna be a couple months before I finish, right? I thumbnailed a month's worth of pages today, and you know, I'm not really even close to done. I'm not like really approaching the end. We're like, I've thumbnailed, I would say, probably over half of chapter 13 at this point. It's not going to be one of those 100-page long chapters, I don't think. Unless some of the stuff at the end gets really decompressed, which I don't think it should. But I usually try to script ahead, and because I've just been so distracted and everything has been so, like, difficult recently, I've fallen behind on my script buffer, and it's making me nervous. But hopefully, if I can just put stuff in Obsidian, just have it readily available on every single device that I have, I won't be able to avoid it, and then I can just easily access it like blam. See, that's another thing about like just something I've learned about ADHD and like learning how to cope with it, is that you have to learn how to make things as easily accessible for yourself as possible. Because then when you actually have the energy to do the thing, it's easier to actually get started to do the thing, right? That's why I have a button on my computer. I press it, and it opens every single program I need to stream. It opens every program, all at once, with one button press. So that I don't have to go searching around and hunting and like doing all this other stuff and looking for all these other programs. Nah, one button. One button, and then I'm ready to stream. And it just makes my life so easy. We love shortcuts. We do. We love shortcuts. This is what I'm talking about when I said I put all my skill points into efficiency. I am a goddamn Dandori master. Captain Olimar would be so fucking proud of me. Like, hell yeah. That weird little anime girl over there, she's a Dandori master. And I'd puff out my chest and be like, hell yeah, I am Captain Olimar, sir. It's because of my mental illness, sir. He'd be like, what? Is it a big red button? It is a button on my stream deck that just says stream programs on it. So I just press that button and it opens all of my stream programs. I also have a digital to-do list that automatically updates every single morning with my weekly tasks. So that helps. That keeps things nice and convenient. What else? I have multiple planners with to-do lists that help me keep all my stuff organized. I am just like, having ADHD and trying to run your own business is very difficult. You have to juggle so many plates. And so anything I can do to make the plate juggling easier, I will do it. The guide you had on the to-do list was amazing, by the way. I use the automation stuff to auto-put my school tasks on my board. Hell yeah! I'm glad that it's useful for people. I remember when I figured out how to use, like, automated Trello boards like that. Fucking game changer. I don't have to remember what month I have to do my taxes anymore. It's not hovering ominously over my head anymore because I have a little digital to-do list that will tell me when it's time. So good. So good. You know what? Where's my... Wow. I drew a pretty flower. Wait, you know what? Actually, I should put this up to 8. Then... There we go. That's what I'm talking about. There we go. Perfect little shape. I love a symmetry brush to make a perfect little shape. See, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase that ruler. I'm going to make another one. Draw the rest of it. Yay! Symmetry rulers! Wowie zowie. Love that. That's Cameron's little family crest, by the way. That is the Celtress family script, or family crest. It kind of looks like an axe blade with a flower on it. It's Darius and Mira came up with it together. Hi, Milo. Okay. Okay, what? What is it? What is it, baby bongus? Oh, hi, Chicken Nugget. She's back, everyone. She is back. She is here to continue her shift at the biscuit factory. Milo, you sure take a lot of breaks. If I were your boss, I might fire you. You take a lot of breaks at the biscuit factory. You work for like 2 minutes and then you stop and you're gone for 10. Baby bingus. Alright, how are these inks looking? How do I feel about these inks? I feel like your eyelids need to be a little heavier. Don't like this tangent. Make it go away. Hello. Kibbity baby. Baby kibbity. Oh yeah, here's a little minor character detail. Cameron does not have little under eye circles because they have emotional baggage. They have little under eye circles because they get so excited about coming up with new spells, they regularly stay up way past their bedtime. To just keep working on new spells, the hyper focus is strong in this child. One of their sleeves is bigger than the other. Ow, Milo! Oh, oh, claws in my leg, claws in my leg, claws in my leg. Yep, that'll do. And we're gonna, we're digitally hemming these sleeves is what we're doing. Hi, Milo. Hi. Hi. Ojo, bojo, jo, bojo. Okay, bye. She does not like the aggressive butt pats. She's a coward. Oh my goodness! Hi, baby Beebus. Ew. Milo. Oh, Supernova Blade, thank you for the super chat. Had my first day of a new job today, now have $2. Thank you. I hope you had a good time at New Jorb. New Georb. Oh yeah, so one thing, fun side effect of, hi Milo. Hi Milo. Hi Milo, I'm gonna play you like a ukulele. Hi Milo. Hello, I'm gonna hold you. Oh, are you annoyed with me? Are you annoyed? Are you annoyed that I'm just giving you love every time you jump into my lap? Are you annoyed? Am I bothering you? I wonder what that feels like. Side effect of going to a con is I was hanging out with an artist slash writer slash streamer buddy, who then introduced me to one of their writer friends because we started talking about like our various writing projects. And so that was a lot of fun. And so then they introduced me to another one of their friends who also really likes writing, and I spent my morning getting very distracted by explaining all my blurbos to them. And talking about like just like world building and stuff that I'm coming up with Azure Mirage, and honestly just talking about it gave me a couple of cool ideas. I figured out how I'm going to include sky whales in this story and have it be an important part of the universe. I figured out the lore for the sky whales. So that's exciting. Because if you guys have come to my Rune Factory streams, you know how much I fucking love sky whales. I love sky whales. And so I figured out how to put sky whales in my fantasy novel. Do you guys want to know about how I'm putting sky whales in my fantasy novel? Moby Dick in the sky. Listen, Holly, we don't need to tell them all the details of all the things that I talked about in mod chat with the sky whales. We don't need to tell them all of that. But the main thing about the sky whales is that, okay, so this universe, this magic universe that I am crafting, I'm going to take you guys on a little journey with me. You guys get to come on a journey, put on your seatbelts, we're going on a little trip. So the way the world was created, this magic universe, the way it was created was there was a pantheon of 10 gods. All the gods were siblings, and they basically took turns, like, adding stuff to this world that they were creating. So like the very first, the oldest sibling basically made like the sun and stars and light, all this other stuff, and then the second sibling made like the earth, and then the third sibling made all the water, and then et cetera, on and on. And so what ended up happening was, you know, the world was created by all of these gods who had like a vision for it. They were like putting things actively in the world. I don't know if they'd make a moon. I don't know if they would have done that. I feel like they were so focused on making, you know, their like world as best as they could be. I don't know if they gave it a moon. I don't know if they gave it one. So what I'm thinking is that they did not make a moon. No moons here. So instead, the moon is a whale. Yes, the moon is a whale! The moon is a pod of sky whales that glow white and they swim through the clouds. And they're the moon. And I have like an idea for a story of how the sky whales came to be. Whether it's myth or truth is debatable, but they're sky whales. Sky whales! Wouldn't forgetting a moon play havoc with the planet's axis? This is not Earth. This is fantasy. This is a new thing. We don't need a moon. There's plenty of planets with no moons. Don't ask me to name any of them, but I'm sure that there are. Like, we don't have to have a moon. Plenty of planets only have, like, one moon, or they have two, or they have, like, 60-something. Mercury and Venus. Thank you, I'll take your word for it. We don't need a moon. Gods, we're so focused on everything else. We don't need a moon. What's a moon? I don't know what his moon is. But so now, instead, we have sky whales that act like the moon. And I think that what I'm kind of thinking of is that the first sky whale was like an ancestor or a creation of the goddess of light, who conveniently is also like the mother goddess for all elves, for the record. And so I think that, you know, when the world was first created and people started living on it, they were like, hey, it's too damn dark at night and we can't see anything. And so now, like, this child of, like, the goddess of light became the first sky whale, in order to light up the night. And then she, like, her descendants light up the sky to this day, and they're all whales. They're sky whales, and it's very cool. I like a sky whale. How will the absence of the moon affect the tides? Here's the thing, I don't care. I'm gonna if you're thinking about tides, you're a nerd. I don't need to care about the tides. The tides are not a major part of my world building. Just whatever. Sky whales is the moon. Don't worry about it. You don't have to think about it that hard. It's fantasy. Suspension of disbelief. It's fine. This is where Tide Pods came from. Wait, you're so right, though. Wait. You know, maybe the sky whales do control the ocean. I don't know. Maybe they do. Because Tide Pods. That's very funny, actually. But the sea god is dead as hell. Technically, all the gods are dead as hell, except for like 1.5. So how it happened is that, you know, like, each of these gods took turns putting something on this planet they were making. And then the 9th god, name of Vitor, was a dick. Couldn't think of anything to add to the world and was just kind of like jealous of all of the cool stuff that their siblings had made. It was just, you know what? Fuck it. I don't like this world. I'm going to destroy it. And so they invented like storms and earthquakes and natural disasters, and they put those on the planet. And then all their other siblings were like, hey bro, what the fuck? And it starts a war between them. They all like fight about it. And then all of the gods die in this war, trying to like take out Vitor. All the other gods end up dying, except for the last one, but we'll get to them. And so all of the pieces of the bodies of the gods, which is made from like this like magical crystally stone called like Godstone, all of the shattered pieces of the gods fell to this new planet that they had just finished making. And the final god, the youngest sibling in this family of gods, was very sad that all of their siblings were dead and they were all alone. So what they did was they sacrificed their life to give new life to all the shattered, like, little shards of their siblings' bodies. And rather than resurrect the gods, what that did was it turned every little fragment of the shattered bodies of the gods into a new person. So basically, all of the shattered pieces of the god of light turned into the first generation of elves. All of the shattered pieces of the god of the earth and stone turned into the first dwarves, etc., 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 for all of the, like, original fantasy, like, races in this universe. Except for Vitor, because he's a bitch. His charge didn't get turned into anything. Because the god, like, the 10th god was just like, you're kind of mean and this was all your fault, so I'm not gonna, like, resurrect your little body pieces. And so that 10th god is known as the god of cycles. They are, like, still actively worshipped in the universe today. Like, a lot of people think that the god of cycles still, like, walks among people, that they are still alive and contributing to things. A lot of people think that the god of cycles sacrificed themselves to bring life back to the pieces of their fallen siblings. There's a lot of different schools of thought. I might play with that in a future story. I don't know. I'm leaving it open. What became of his body? You mean Vitor? It's still out there causing problems. Occasionally, sometimes, someone will find a very large piece of, like, Vitor's body, like, crystal. It's like this black, like, this obsidian-esque crystal. And people will find it and be like, wow, this crystal is so normal and is not cursing me. It's not my cursed amulet. Hashtag my cursed amulet. Basically, like, sometimes also if people, like, come into contact with pieces of his body, Vitor takes over and turns them into a weird fucking monster, and that's gonna be a thing that people have to deal with. Do they necessarily know what the origins of these weird monsters are? I don't know. I'm still brainstorming it, but basically, that's kind of what I'm tooling around with, is that there are still fractured pieces of this dead evil god's body, and he is determined to fuck everything up. He is determined to fuck it all up. And Vitor is not really going to get much, like, none of this, like, overworld godly lore is really going to have a whole lot of play in the Lapis novel, I don't think, but this is extremely relevant for the upcoming Verity novel. So it's something that I've been keeping in the back of my head and been brainstorming. Do people think Cameron is becoming one of the weird monster things? I do think that probably that is, like, one of the rumors that's been going around. Here I am. Going to really quick. Save out Milo, please, baby. Right now, Vitor just exists. Kinda, yeah. I'm not gonna talk too much about it just because none of it's, like, really set in stone yet. But just, they are out there doing something. Probably. And it's fine. Also, Vitor, by the way, is spelled V-I-T-O-R-E. So it's like V-I and then the word tore, like I tore the paper. That's how you spell it. Yeah, Holly got it. Yeah, so that's what their deal is. Yeah, so part of figuring out the world building has been figuring out, like, who were the original gods? What were they the gods of? And how does that translate to the type of, like, people that they ended up making? Like, I know I want the first god, the oldest one, the god of light, to be the one that created the first elves. And, like, the one that created the first dwarves would be, like, the god of stones and the earth and all this other stuff, because I feel like that makes sense. Figuring out, like, what other fantasy ancestries I wanted to put in the story and in the world was also kind of tricky, and I still have not entirely figured out, like, every single aspect of it. My lord, a baby! So still kind of pondering that a little bit, but I'm also thinking it's like, I want to be able to put basically any type of fantasy creature into this universe and have it be able to be explained by one or more just, like, godly ancestors that are just present in their backstory and their bloodline. Who made the furries? The god of furries. Real talk, though. I'm thinking that right now, what I'm kind of thinking is that one of the gods just, like, made humans. Like, that was the thing that she contributed to the world, is like, I'm gonna make some little people and I'm gonna put them in there. And so then when all the gods died and they were reformed, basically the shards of their bodies took on features of whatever it was that they added to the planet. And so there's, like, the god of animals who created animals, and then all of her shards turned into half animal, half people. Like, half humans, essentially. So it's less that there is a god of furries, there is a god of animals who was combined with humans when their, like, shardborn were created. And that's how you have, like, the human-animal hybrids in the universe. Milo, please stop pushing your little face against my hand. You're very cute, baby, but I'm trying to work. If I hold you really tight for a couple seconds, will you leave me alone? Mwah, 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 mwah. Okay, look, here, I will show you. Because I want to be able to include cat girls in this story, and none of you can tell me otherwise. I want to put kitty cat girls. This is Senna. We're drawing her on Wednesday. We're doing Senna on Wednesday. Did the god who made humans turn into human-human hybrids? See, that's kind of what I'm still trying to figure out. Because I'm like, okay, did the god create humans, or did the shards of that god become humans? And if so, like, what's special about humans? What did that god create that then led to the creation of humans when the shards of their body were, like, brought back to life? I'm still trying to figure it out. What I was kind of thinking is that, the god that made humans could be, like, the god of love and connection, and made humans because she, like, wanted to have, like, oh, little babies that I can, like, just little families of little people that I love very much, and I'm just gonna put them in the universe, and I'll be, like, their mother. Would this mean that humans were in this world before elves? Yes, I think, as I said, all of this is subject to change, but what I'm kind of thinking is that human society, like, all of this did not happen very quickly, or maybe it did. I might change my mind later. Is that, like, human societies existed for a long time before the other shards ended up falling and turning into people. That's kind of something that I'm toying around with. It's a potentiality. I'm still juggling with it. I'm not sure if humans came, were born from the bodies of the gods, or if they were a creation of the gods. Because I feel like if they're a creation of the gods, I can just have them be relatively normal humans. But I feel like if they came from the bodies of the gods, then I need to figure out what's so special specifically about humans and where humans like came from and what their god put into the world that would end up creating humans. Shrug. Industriousness is a godlike trait. Maybe, but see, my problem is that feels boring. That feels boring to me. That doesn't feel like interesting enough to me. And maybe that's me being picky, but allow me to be picky. They're average, the average Joes of society. Yeah, yes, but also it's like, I feel like that would suck for whatever god made them, right? Is like, ah, yes, you're an elf born from the god of light, and you have XYZ abilities. And you are a child of the god of stone, and so you have XYZ abilities. And you're human, you don't get shit. So I kind of have to feel like I have to figure out exactly what I want to do there. Jack of all trades, master enough, but like I still feel like that's too boring. I feel like that's too simple. That feels like a bit of a cop-out, if I'm being honest. Like, that's kind of why I didn't want to go with that. What about just not having regular humans? See, I did consider that, but some of my Blorbos are humans, and I want to be able to keep them humans. This is my struggle. This is my never-ending struggle of world building. Is it I'm retrofitting the world to fit the Blorbos I have already designed, and some of the Blorbos I've already designed are human, so I do want to keep humans in the universe. But I don't want them to be like the boring one. You know? Born of fire, maybe? See, that would be cool, but I do already have like a god of the elements, and fire is included in that. That is the god who created Cinderins, aka not tieflings. I reverse engineered tieflings because I didn't want them to be based on Christian mythology. I wanted them to be little guys with horns and tails because I thought they were cute. Make the OG humans normal and Shard superpowered. See, that is something I considered, but I want all, like, it doesn't make sense to just have one race that sucks. Because theoretically, like, all of the fantasy races that I'm coming up with would all be, like, originally born from one of the gods of the universe. And that would imply that just one of the gods is the god of suck. And that doesn't feel cool to me. I don't know. See, this is why I struggle. This is why I struggle. This is the struggle of world building. Is like, I still want humans to be in it, but I either need to find a way to make humans, like, more unique and interesting and give them something that, like, other fantasy species would not have, or I need to, like, figure something out. I need to figure it out. Humans could be resistant to harmful magic and extreme weather, but then that would imply that other fantasy races don't have that. And that feels odd as well. Like, listen, I am a huge fan of, like, the subgenre of, like, speculative fiction where it's like humans are just fucking weird. And so, like, you have, you know, your Mass Effect equivalent universe where just, like, humans are on the spaceship and they keep freaking out all the aliens by how, like, durable and weird they are and how they just, like, do shit and it's just, they're just fucking weird. I love humans are the aliens in speculative fiction, but I don't know if that necessarily works here. Because also, you have to consider, like, what would their godly parent, what would their godly parent be the god of that made them turn out that way? What did their parent god add to the world that made humans the way that they are? Basically, it's like, I want to have a fish species that's basically just like, and they're all the children of the god of water. So this god created water, and then all of their children live in the ocean. And so like the god of light is the one who like originated all elves, and elves are really good with light magic and they live for a really long time. Dwarves are born from the god of stone, and they actually have like kind of stone elements in their biology. It's like they're very tough, they're very hardy, they live for a long time, and they're very like naturally heat resistant. And also they have a very high body temperature because their insides are sort of magma adjacent. So what did the god of humans put on the world that made humans, and what's special about that? The alternative to this is that there was a god who just made humans and put them on the earth because they were like, I want to make like a little less powerful version of the gods, and I'm going to stick them on the earth and I'm going to watch them do stuff. But then what did the shards of that god create? I feel like it should be something that's separate from humans. Because like my god of tieflings, the god that like created all the elements, they also created dragons and added dragons to the world, and then the shards of their body turned into tieflings. So tieflings have elemental abilities just like all the dragons have elemental abilities. I also have a god that's like the god of magic who created unicorns to give magic to humans, and then the shards of her body kind of turned into Aasimar adjacent. I still haven't exactly ironed out every single thing that they can do, but they have like hard light magic and they do a lot of stuff with that. Double humans, giants. See, giants feel boring to me. What if humans are more creatively inclined? But see, that implies that other fantasy races can't be creative. And I don't like that. It's like, I don't want it to be something in their personalities. I want it to be like a physical trait that they have that other races might not necessarily have or have less of. The god of logistics, that's a personality. I don't want it to be a personality thing. I want it to be a physical trait within these people. And I also don't want it to be necessarily like superpowers. I see a few people suggesting stuff in the chat that's more superpower adjacent, because that is an entirely other different thing in the magic system. See, trying to figure this out has been like the ping pong ball that I have been bouncing around in my head for a very long time. And see, it's difficult. This is why I'm having difficult with it. Their ears, the god created sound. That would imply that other races don't have ears! This is the problem that I'm having. Is like, I want it to be something like, just, I feel like you can't take something away from the other species and say that, oh, humans are just better at that, because then that's implying that like other species, other like fantasy races have less of that, and I don't like that. Predicting the future. See, that is an entirely different thing. Because that's more like a gifted magic system thing, which is an entirely other thing in the universe. I think I just need to like sit down and figure out what the specific physical attributes of each of the god's children have, and then figure out what else I can give to humans necessarily, or I just go the entire opposite route and make up some other thing that's like, okay, you know what? I'm changing the topic. Everyone shut up. This is how I'm changing the topic, because, okay, if we go the second version where humans were created by, like, say, the god of connections or whatever, I think we could just add another race on top of humans that was born from the shards of that god, but then what would that be? What would the broken pieces of the god of, like, love and connections have? I was thinking maybe just, like, winged people. like just humans with wings, like just kind of angel-y wings. Because I think that might be fun. I think that might be a way to add, like, winged people to the universe without necessarily having to make them, like, bird hybrids. But it's like, what do wings have to do with, like, love and connections? And don't say Cupid. Don't say Cupid, don't say anything like that. I don't want to borrow from other mythologies. My feeling was maybe, like, giving them the ability to fly helps them travel so that they can make connections easier. Like, they can fly around and travel more and meet people easier. Question mark? I don't know. That was kind of the thought that I had. Shrug. Doves are famous, like, doves are often a symbol for love. Birds are famously social. I don't want to take directly from birds, though, because birds are another thing. Birds are another people's domain. There is an entire god specifically who made all the animals, and that feels like stepping on their toes. I want it to be related to connections and, like, humans and people and love and that kind of thing, and not because birds are this way, because birds are another thing. Birds are the domain of somebody else. Somebody else already has birds. I was kind of thinking, yeah, like, the wings help them travel so that they can make bonds and connections across, like, long distances easier. But I wasn't sure if, like, if that worked or if that was boring. Yeah, somebody else has all the birds. They took all the birds, Jerry. They took them all. Giving them, like, a little multicolored rope here, because it's pretty. Yeah, so do you see what I mean? Where it's like world building is challenging, and I've been, like, trying to figure all this out for months now. This is what I think about when I'm just, like, doing my little walks around the neighborhood and just brainstorming. It's just me thinking about, it's like, I can't do wings. That's the god of birds. What do I do? You know what I did forget to do is I was gonna give them, like, a little book satchel on the side of their... on their, like, little side here. And I forgot to sketch it in. Little hip holster for, like, a spell book. Because they're a total nerd. Satyrs, we already have the god of furries. That's animals. That's somebody else's purview. See, this is why it's hard. It's like, I'm trying to figure out... And, you know, there was part of me that was like, okay, well, what if we just don't do anything with that god? And we just have there be a total of 8 or 9 gods instead of 10. And then I was like, but 10 is a good number. And aesthetically, I want to have 10 because it's... round number is good for my brain. I'm a fan of the number 10. 10 is a good number in my book. I stand the number 10. There's roses, which are a symbol of love. That's plants. That's another thing. We already have the god of plants. That's their purview. See, that's why this is so hard. I feel like I've almost written myself into a corner a little bit. A little bit. It's like, I already have that. We already have the god of plants. And their shards made a bunch of plant people. Oh, god damn it, I sketched this on the wrong layer. Gosh dang it. You have a god of bugs? Yes, the god of animals. Relate them to mushrooms somehow? That's a plant. Don't argue with me about semantics about it's like, oh, actually mushrooms are a fungus, it's a completely different thing. I don't care. I don't care. They're close enough to plants, they classify as a plant for the sake of this world building. How about you make the humans wizards and witches? But that's the thing, is that in this universe, everyone can study magic and have magic. That's not like a unique thing to a specific race. That is something that anyone in this world can do. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I know that, like, that's me coming at it, like, with my knowledge of the everything because I'm making this world, but I'm just like, I'm giving you guys context of like, yeah, that's already a thing. Is there a god of air? There is a god of the elements, and air is included in that. He's technically the god of change, because his whole thing was like, okay, we're gonna give ocean currents, we're gonna have air currents, we're gonna have, like, fire to, like, you know, like, cleanse things and make room for new creation, and we're gonna, like, mold the earth and have, like, mountains and canyons and stuff like that. And the shards of his body ended up creating my not tieflings. They're called Cinderins. And their horns channel their elemental abilities, if they have them. If they don't, then they're just decorative. Yeah, see, like, this is why I don't spend a lot of time world building usually. Because I have a tendency to just, like, I get too in the weeds about it. Are there earth and water and air people? Yes, they're tieflings. Vesper is an air person. She has air powers. But yeah, so basically just like the tiefling equivalent in this universe, they're elemental based. So like water, fire, wind, earth, ice, electricity, etc., etc., etc. So they're kind of like Genasi, but tieflings instead. Yeah, kind of. If we're using D&D terminology, then yes. But the whole reason I kind of made them that way is because I was trying to, you know, kind of like wash the official D&D lore off of them. Reverse engineer them into, like, keep the design elements, but make my own thing. See, now I'm kind of, now I'm thinking of something else, because, okay. I had an idea for another one of my, like, fantasy races that was the shards of the god of magic, and they would have, like, hard light wings a la Tales of Symphonia. But now I almost feel like if we're going with winged people, that should be for the, like, the god creators of humans. Maybe the god that created humans, like the god of love and connections, has hard light, like the shards of that person have the hard light wings, because then they're not necessarily stuck with any one particular animal, and that kind of removes the, like, animal wing problem. If you guys are not familiar with Tales of Symphonia and the wings that some of the characters have, let me show you. Because I always thought, ever since I first played this game as a baby, I thought these were the coolest shit. There. Like, kind of wings made of light, essentially. So, we could have humans. So, the god created humans. And then when the god beefs it and dies, the shards of their body turn into, they look like humans, but they have the hard light wings instead. And they can do various things with them. I think that works. The problem now, god damn it, is that I was gonna give these wings to a different god shard. And I have to come up with a different thing for them. Okay. Okay. So now we have a separate conundrum. A separate conundrum is what we have. I like this. I think I'm gonna keep this. My thought was that the 8th god, like the youngest god aside, like who, like the last person to put things on there. I'm thinking that the god of humans was the 7th. They made humans and set them loose on the world. And then right after that, like the next sibling god was like, hey, humans don't have magic. I kind of feel bad for them. I want to give humans magic. I'm the Prometheus, basically. I want to give the humans access to magic. I think they should have that. And so that god created, like, unicorns and other magical godly messengers to go down to the planet and teach humans how to use magic. And I was going to make her shards have, like, hard light magic abilities like this. But if I give that to the human god, then I have to give the god of magic something else. And I was thinking that, like, maybe unicorns were their main thing. But Vesper's kind of unicorn adjacent, and I want her to be a Cinderin specifically. I could have, like, a half unicorn race. I could do that. But I think I kind of want to play with it a little bit more. What would people born from the god of magic potentially have? Like, they could just be unicorn human hybrids. That could be a thing. Unicorns and reindeer. Holly, your bias is showing. Changelings, we're not doing that because I already have those and they come from somewhere else. An ethereal form? Maybe. I could do, like, they're, like, fairies or spirits or something. I could still do that. And just, like, give specifically hard light wings to a different... I could have all their shards be, like, Fae adjacent, but not necessarily Fae. They're just, like, more magical. I could do that. Magic see-through limbs, their hair can glow, ghost-like auras, glittery Twilight vampire style. Spirits can work, maybe could be goblins. Like the glitter idea. I'm gonna think about it. These are all good ideas, but this is something that I think I'm gonna ponder. I'm gonna ponder it. I'm gonna think about it. then I'm gonna come in here, and I'm going to get rid of, whoop! Yep. All the stuff in here. There. So now I have their little side book. That fill? It did not. I didn't think it was going to. But yeah, so basically one of the things that I am trying to do with this fantasy world that I am building is that I want to be able to shove just about like any sort of character type into the universe and have nobody question it. I want to be able to kind of Genshin Impact it, where you can have just like tiny people, and you can have cat girls, and you can have dragon boys, and you can just like have every single thing, and nobody questions it. Nobody questions it. They're just like, yeah, that's a thing. The people like that just exist, and it's not a big deal. And I want the reader to see that in the canon and be like, oh yeah, that's just a thing. That doesn't matter. That's just part of this universe. I want to be able to just do that and have nobody question it. So I want to be able to just, so like flexibility is a big thing that I'm going for, where it's like every single type of fantasy character I could potentially want to put in this universe is either one of the base fantasy races that I've come up with, or it could be considered like a combination of multiple. And it wouldn't be that unusual to consider them that. So it's like, if I wanted to have, say, I don't know, halflings in the universe, halflings or gnomes or whatever, they could be a hybrid of, like, humans and spirits. I don't know. Just stuff like that. Maybe you have like a leather-bound book, actually. Do have more like kind of leathery straps for your little book bag. Maybe the book's a little bit more like kind of a saturated purple and it's easier to see. Yeah. Ace Wanderer, thank you for the gifted membership. I appreciate it. Thank you. I feel like I keep like coming up with a conversation topic and then running out of steam, and then coming up with a conversation topic and then running out of steam. But yeah, so there's just like a sneaky peek into my twisted mind of stuff that I've been brainstorming for my fantasy universe. This is what I've been pondering with all my blorbos. taking my evening walks and thinking about wings and shit. And in a video very soon, you guys will be able to hear me yap about it forever. You know what? I think I need to add a little stroke border around this too. The idea here is, you guys remember in my introductory video for Azure Mirage where I talked about how there's a specific type of glass that can absorb magic? Absorb and store magic? My idea here is that a lot of wizards and like mages will keep little accessories made out of that special magic absorbing glass, and they use it as like a little extra bit of backup mana just in case they need it. And it just recharges by them going out in the sunshine because they're essentially solar powered. And so this is what that is for Cameron. It's like a little battery that they just like keep on them. So if they ever need just like a little bit of magic, they could just tap into it. So it's their family crest, but it's in, like, it's made of that special glass. I imagine it doesn't hold a whole lot, but it's just like an extra little... extra safe battery, just in case. A mana factory would just be a beautiful colored glass flower garden. Yeah, just like that print I drew. I already drew that. I'm 12 steps ahead of y'all, because I already did a print of that. Basically, solar panels are just like glass flower solar panels, and people will put them on the roofs of their houses to like generate power to keep their air conditioning on and whatever. Follow-up print with Laz. I do have an idea for a print with Laz, but I don't think I'm gonna get it done in time for Sand Japan because I have too many other things to do. But eventually I would like to do one. And I do have an idea for a composition. It is a scene that I don't even know if it will actually happen within the book, but it is an idea I had for a scene, and I think it's cool. And if nothing else, even if it doesn't make it into the final story, I do want to draw it. And it's Laz riding a dragon and going up to look at the sky whales and like up close. And so they're like flying through the sky And like they're just kind of like flying right underneath the sky whales, and Laz is just like partying with the sky whales, and it's very cool. 'Cause I want to draw a print with sky whales. I think it would be cool to draw. Ain't no party like a sky whale party, 'cause a sky whale party goes woo, woo. That's the sound that a sky whale makes. Love me a sky whale party, yeah! I love a sky whale. Star might like sky whales. Yeah, maybe. Just maybe. I might be a fan. I have been a fan of sky whales ever since I was a wee bab and I played Rune Factory Frontier for the first time. And Rune Factory Frontier, there is a sky whale, but it's an island, and it's also a dungeon. And it's called Whale Island, and it's very cool. Hang on, I'm gonna look this up, and I'll show it to you guys. Rune Factory Whale Island. Oh, my beloved! Rune Factory Whale, my beloved! Look! Whale Island Rune Factory, I love you! I love you so much! I love Sky Whale. I have been in love with sky whales ever since I saw Whale Island from Rune Factory Frontier. Just the idea of a whale being in the sky instead of the ocean, I think is very neat, and I like them. Sky whale. And in this universe, the whales is the moon. There's no moon. They don't know what a moon is. They have sky whales instead. Glowing sky whales. Glowing sky whales that get you pregnant. I mean, what? That was a topic of conversation with some writing pals earlier today. I was talking about how... Oh, you know what? I don't know if I want to talk about this because I don't know if it's spoilers. Okay, so you guys know how in like Greek mythology there's like demigods? Where it's like the children of a god and a mortal. So there's kind of an equivalent to that in the story. Where like the creations of the gods, like dragons, sky whales, etc., are all called like titans. That's a placeholder name. I might change it. But basically, I was trying to think, like, okay, well, let's get a little quirky with it. What would happen if a Shardborn and a Titan tried to have a baby? Because, like, a lot of Titans can shapeshift. That's just a thing. And so it's like, okay, well, what if a Titan had a baby with a normal person? What would happen? And I do know what happens, but I'm not going to tell y'all because of spoilers. And so my friend I was telling this to was like, okay, but what happens? How do you make a baby with a sky whale? Because, like, how would you even do that? And I'm like, the sky whales are on some Zeus shit, and it's like immaculate conception, maybe? And they were like, the sky whales are just hitting everybody with the pregnancy beams. So the end of that conversation was that in this universe, Moby Dick is about a guy who got pregnant via sky whale. Yes, I said guy, I know what I said. Hunting down the sky whale to make it pay its child support. in the story, we were just joking about like, haha, wouldn't it be funny, what if? But it did make me laugh very hard. Just the concept of it is like the space whales are hitting everybody with their pregnancy beams and making them have baby whales. And that's how baby whales are made. First you fire up the pregnancy laser, and then you go pa-choo! And you get them. You told me not to talk about Moby Dick. Listen! This time it came up naturally and I was able to provide the context. You can't just bring up Moby Dick mpreg unprompted. You have to segue gently into it. Oh, man. So that's what was distracting me from work earlier today. Talking about what if Moby Dick mpreg is how the sky whales reproduce. I don't think that's going to end up being canon, but thinking about it did make me laugh very hard. Just like Wowie G Willikers. The whales have beams. And so it's like, okay, but like, what if, you know, it's like, no, honey, I promise I didn't cheat on you. It was the sky whales. The sky whale hit me with the pregnancy beam. I didn't cheat on you, I promise, honey. He's like, if you give birth to this baby and it's not a fucking whale, I'm divorcing your ass. This is the dumb shit that we just... You ever just like get in a conversation with them and you just keep yes-anding each other? That's what happened. That's where this came from. It was a cavalcade of yes-anding to horrifying results. I promise it wasn't me. It was the sky whale and its freaky beams. Exactly. Everybody knows about the sky whales and their freaky beams. That's not canon. I feel like I need to really stress that that's not actually going to be a thing in the universe. We were just playing a little silly game of yes and. Nobody make a drama video about me and cite that I'm a freak because I talked about pregnancy whale lasers, mpreg, whatever. It's a joke. Joking. It's just silly yes and. It's a bit. I live for the bit. I feel like the people in this universe would have a very different view of the sky whales if they could actually get you pregnant with the beams. I feel like people would just like not go out at night. It's like, no, Todd, you can't go out tonight. Sky whales are here. They're gonna get you pregnant. They're gonna hit you with the beams. You can't, Todd, no! You can't stay out late! Version of baby, it's cold outside, but it's like, no, you can't go out because the sky whales are out tonight and they're freaks. You're gonna end up with a sky whale baby, and you know what happened to Felicia. I really can't stay, but baby, there's whales outside. Oh, man. And see, this is just a continuation. We're continuing the bit. This is just a further game of yes and. Baby, it's sky whale night, yeah! But see, the thing is, I think okay, so we're done joking about sky whales making people pregnant now. We are done, we're moving past that. I'm talking about like actual canon things in the story. I do think that probably the sky whales aren't on like an actual lunar cycle. They swim through the clouds, and if it's nighttime, the sky whales are out. They're like bats. They just come out at night. And they just are on the opposite rotation as the sun. And so if the sun is down, the sky whales are out and they're partying. That's what I think it is. Ace Wanderer, thank you for the super chat. Having sky sharks could solve that problem. You fool! The sky whales are so much bigger than any shark. They're so large. Now see, the question is, what kind of whales are the sky whales? Are we talking like sky orcas? We talking about sky blue whales? We talking about sky sperm whales? Have you guys ever realized that sperm whales look like a stapler? Because they do. Have you guys ever looked at a sperm whale? Their heads are so fucking big. And their mouths are so small. Have you guys ever looked at, like, really looked at a sperm whale? They look like staplers. 1 second. I'm gonna show you this. I need a sperm whale with its mouth open. That'll do. Copy image. Okay, so there's a sperm whale, right? Their heads, so fucking big. A huge ass fucking head. Itty bitty little mouth at the bottom. Itty bitty little mouth. A tiny fucking mouth. It's just like me. They look like staplers. Why do I not have a silly Japanese stapler that looks like a sperm whale? Huh? Why do I not have that? Why is that not already in my stationery collection, huh? Somebody get on this shit. They look like staplers. Especially like if you look at their fucking mouths are like so narrow compared to the rest of their bodies. They look so stupid. Like why are their mouths so little while the rest of them so big? See this? See this right here? That's a stapler. That's where you put your documents. I'm gonna put my documents in there to get them stapled by the whale. He's gonna go crunch. And then you get stapled. That's how it happens. That's how I affix my documents to each other. But like seriously though, why sperm whale? Why their mouth like that? Why are their heads so big and their mouths so tiny? Their little jaws are so tiny. Itty bitty, thin little jaw. What the fuck are you gonna even do with that? What do you do with that? Aside from staple my documents together. Staplers. Nature's staplers. Anyway, going back to my drawing. Anyway, somebody go invent a sperm whale shaped stapler and get back to me. I'll let you have that idea, I'll let you have that patent, but you have to give me one. You have to send me a lifetime supply of whale staplers. Like, in case I break one, I want another one for free. That's the price. You have to give me one. I almost kind of feel like if Castoff ever gets so big that people want to make fan merch for it and they're like asking me, can I like make merch of this and like take it to a convention or whatever. This is not my official stance on that, but I do think it would be kind of fun. It's like, yeah, sure, you can make fan merch as long as it's like small runs of stuff. You're not like mass producing them. And also, if you do make fan merch, you have to send me one. Legally, you have to send me one. I want one. He's like, listen, we'll be all good, but you gotta send me one. I don't think that hello? What the fuck? Well, I'll have to redraw those in a minute. It exists. I just sent you the link. Let me see the shit. Oh! It is real! Look at it! Why does the fake paper say yummy squid? Look at it! It's a whale stapler. Someone agrees with me! Someone agrees with me that they look like staplers. Yes! Sperm whale stapler, my beloved! How much is that? This item has been discontinued! No! I need it though! I need a whale stapler, no! F's in the chat for discontinued whale stapler, god damn it. I've never been more sad in my life. Time to exit out of all of my whale images. Gonna X all those out. Hi, Senna. I'm so sad. It was brought to my attention that this thing exists within the same, like, 5-second span of me finding out that it doesn't exist anymore. The emotional whiplash, real. So sad. I have long since dreamed about whale stapler. Ever since that one, like, couple of weeks where I got really into watching a lot of deep sea documentaries and people kept talking about sperm whales and I was like, those bitches look like staplers. Those bitches look like staplers. Why are their mouths like that? I want a stapler that looks like that, and it turns out it exists, and then they took it away. They took it away. They don't make them anymore. Ugh. My heart. I'm so incurably sad now. Chat played Despacito. I was trying to think of a sad song and I couldn't think of one fast enough, and so I'm like, yeah, sure, just go with the meme. Play Despacito. Whenever I think about Despacito, though, I think about how someone made a remix of Despacito, but it's Sprigatito, as though a Sprigatito was singing it. You know, Sprigatito from Pokemon. Sprigatito, Sprigatito. It was very funny. I love it. Hi, Milo. Yeah, I know. I'm sad about the whale stapler, too. Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't know if you're meowing loud enough to show up on the mic, though, baby cat. Tell the world your thoughts about whale stapler. Tell them what you think. She's like, not right now, Mom. I'm busy. Baby cats. Baby cats. Baby cats. Baby cats, I'm gonna squish you. I'm gonna squish this little kitten bread loaf. Squish this little kitten bread loaf. Hi. Hello, you. She's at the biscuit factory again. The only employee of the biscuit factory is once again returned. Oh, hi, baby. Hi, baby. She's a gatito. She's an itty bitty sweet gatito. Little bitty baby sweet bee paquito. Sweet gatito. gatito. And see, this is actually how I baby talk my cat sometimes. Is that I just call them baby gatitos to the tune of Despacito. Hey, baby. Sweet gatito, itty bitty bitty sweet gatito, little bitty chicken babe gatito. She is a tiny little sweet gatito. And she does not appreciate me pestering her while she is trying to do her job and work very hard at the biscuit factory, but she can peel. That's the tax you pay for living in this house, is I get cuddles whenever I want. See, Molly also cuddles, but Molly cuddles in a different way than Milo. Molly will either just, like, sit perfectly still on my lap for hours at a time, or Molly, like, really wants to be affectionate right before I'm going to bed. And she'll, like, come and curl up next to me when it's bedtime. But she doesn't make biscuits super often anymore. She sometimes does if she's getting, like, really into pets. If I'm giving her some pets and she's getting real into it, she might make biscuits. But she's not huge. She's not like a main employee of the biscuit factory, you know? Baby, what? Milo, I swear to God, you're like if ADHD was an animal. You're like if ADHD was an animal. Because you can't make up your mind on what you want to do. You want to make biscuits, and then you want to sit on my desk, and then you want to immediately come back and make more biscuits. She's just a baby. This cat. This is a cat. How about that? Okay, and now she's standing up and she's in the way again, and I'm gonna give her cuddles. Ugh. Okay. Okay, you're gonna be a shoulder cat now? You're gonna be shoulder cat? Okay, she's a shoulder cat now. I gave her a hug and now she's on my shoulder. She's a shoulder cat. See, when she was little, I tried to train Milo to be a shoulder cat. So she could just, like, jump up on my shoulder and just ride around, but she is largely uninterested. She doesn't really even like being held. She wants to run room to room and get under my feet and trip me of her own volition. Anybody else have a thing with cats where it's like they follow you from room to room, but rather than just like following behind you, they're like, oh, you're going to the other room? I'm gonna beat you there. And they like just run ahead of you and then get in front of you and then like you trip on them accidentally a little bit. That's Milo's like modus operandi. That is her every single day of her life. She's like, I don't know where we're going, but I'm gonna get there first. And see, it is cute until she walks directly in front of my feet and trips me. Or I just kick her, which has happened multiple times in the past couple of weeks. She wants to get there first. It's like, I don't know where we're going, but I'm gonna beat you there. It's just like, Milo, please, baby. Baby Angelito, why are you doing this? Oh man. Chat, I am sad. Do you know why I'm sad, chat? I'm sad because I bought a bird feeder last week, and I have not seen a single bird feeder eat at it. I've not seen a single bird eat at my bird feeder. Not a one. Not a single one. I'm very sad about it. And I mean, like, yeah, I could just be missing the birds and not seeing them because the way it's positioned in the window is a little bit difficult to see. But also, there's the same amount of bird seed in the bird feeder that there has been since I filled it up for the first time. And so I have reason to believe that there are no birds coming to eat at my bird feeder. It's very sad. Raising a bird? No, I just want them to come to my house. I just want them to come over. Because, like, I want the kitties to have cat TV, aka watching birds through the windows. I feel like it would be fun for them to be able to watch birds. Was it the kind of seed for the local birds? My dad had to learn that one. I mean, I assume that cardinals are pretty much everywhere. And I moved like an hour south, and I had cardinals at my old house. And I definitely hear a lot of songbirds, like, or at least I heard them in the spring. So I know they're out there. I know they're out there. Why aren't they in my yard eating from my bird feeder? I put food out for them. Do they hate me? The other thing is, like, my backyard doesn't have any trees, and so that might be part of it. There's nowhere for the birds to go. There's trees in my front yard. Maybe I should put the bird feeder on my front yard porch. Maybe that's what I should do. I should try that, perhaps. I want to plant some trees in my backyard. I'm thinking like either in the fall or the spring. I want to plant some birds. Plant some birds. Plant some trees is what I meant to say. Because right now my backyard is just a flat, just plot of land. And so I want to plant some trees back there when it is viable to do so. You don't want to plant a tree like during the hottest part of summer is what I've heard. But you can either plant them in the spring or in the winter or in the fall once the weather cools down a little bit. So I'm thinking probably later in September I can plant a few trees in the backyard. I want to plant some like flowering trees so they'll be pretty in the spring. We have a lot of crepe myrtles where I live, but I want to do like a Mexican plum tree because they look like cherry blossom trees a little bit. I think they're pretty. Pretty. Yeah, I also have some propagations of my pothos that I want to plant, but I need to buy pots for them. But I kind of want to buy like some indoor hanging pots, so that I can like hang them in my kitchen or something, or maybe like put them on my bookshelf or something. I don't know. I have a couple of ideas. I just want there to be vining plants all over my house because I think they're neat. I think they're neat. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add little skin pigmentations to their fingers. Do that real quick. And I gave them this just because I think that characters who have fun little skin colorations are fun. I was like, yeah, let's go a little, we already gave you horns. Let's go a little harder with it. Yeah, like funky little gradient fingertips. Do I do like ear tips as well? Perhaps. It's kind of fun. All right, flat colors look good. Now we do the shadows. Okay, and then shadows a little lighter. Much bluer. Yeah, we'll do that. Down a little bit. Oh man, do you guys want to know something kind of silly, but that has been working? If you are ever, like, writer's blocked, you know what I have found actually works pretty well is putting on a video in the background of someone else writing. Whether it's, like, typing or just, like, actually writing. Just hearing the sound of someone else working kind of turns it into fake parallel play. I know that a lot of people say that they like to draw along to my streams, and I feel like it's kind of the same concept. Parallel work. You would be amazed at how much more you can get done with writing when you are just, like, listening to someone else write and it motivates you. Your streams is how I get myself to work on my comic pages. Hell yeah! It's like, legitimately, it's parallel play. Parallel work, perhaps, but it is like a legitimate thing, is that, you know, like, humans are social creatures. So doing things with other people can help us a lot, I find. I know that some, like, it's hard for me to actually parallel play with friends and stuff, because sometimes I do get too distracted. At least with writing. It's usually fine if I'm drawing. But with writing, I can't really realistically do parallel play because I get too distracted. I have to have, like, I cannot have distractions while I'm drawing, or while I'm writing. My brain hates it. But for drawing, I'll oftentimes just, like, pop into a group chat. Be like, what's up? That's why I go to Starbucks to work sometimes. Yeah, I'm currently in my cafe girly arc. I'm trying to find, like, the perfect cafe with good boba, comfy seating, and a nice atmosphere where I can go and just work sometimes. I tried a boba tea place around the corner from my house the other day, and they have warm boba, which is one of I don't like warm boba. It's like, please, your boba needs to be the same temperature of the drink. Please. I guess just like some different cultures apparently, like sometimes the warm boba is a thing. It's like that's just how it's preferred. Not me. I prefer the boba has to be the same color as the beverage. Or else I will riot. And so the place I went to that I thought was a potential, it only had wooden chairs, and so they were kind of uncomfortable. And the boba was warm and the drink was cold. And I was like, damn it. He's like, I can't go here. This is unacceptable. Pam the Creator, thank you for the super chat. Me too, I'm the best at making OCs. It's like automatic. By the way, I read your entire comic, but there's too much dialogue and it's endless, but I like. Well, it's a long comic, and comics do have a lot of dialogue, but thank you for reading. I appreciate it. But yeah, so there's a couple of other places in town where I want to try and see if maybe the vibes are a little better and the chairs are a little comfier. Mayhaps I will find my perfect place. There is apparently a coffee shop, bookstore, game store combo that's opening up pretty close to me. But it's still kind of in like the early phases where it's not actually open yet. And so I'm like, no, but I want to go there. I want to go to there right now. What do you mean you're not open yet? Let me in. Let me in and let me sit on your couches that you don't have. Come on, let me in. I want to go there. And I hope that when they open, they have good boba. I've been like, I gotta find my perfect coffee shop. I gotta find it. Somewhere out there, it's waiting for me. I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna go there like every Wednesday. And I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna write. That's the dream right there. Texture brushes. Adding some texture. Okay, now let's add some highlights. Mm-hmm. Add some highlights to like the little glass sculpture down here. Oh, and there's a cat feeder. Okay. So now it's effects layers time. I'm gonna add a little bit of like a reflective glow to these to make them nice and shiny. Glowy, glowy. Very reflective. Very shiny. Okay, I may go back and tweak the base colors a little bit here in a sec, but for right now... Okay, that is way too bright. Too much. And we're gonna add some underlighting. That's blue. What I'm gonna do... I'm gonna add like a little bit of underlighting to the shadows to make them look like they're a little bit more in the distance. Fun fact, this used to be my hype myself up before stream song. I used to listen to this while like I was getting ready for streams. Just got me in the mood. Oh, that's what my freaking YouTube chat window closed. That's why I wasn't seeing like chat updating. I was like, wow, y'all are really quiet. It's because my fucking Firefox tab crashed again. It's just not updating the chat anymore. And if I hit refresh, it's gonna be like, oh, the tab's broken, we don't know what to do. And it's just not gonna load properly. I'm gonna close this whole tab down, and I'm going to go over to my sperm whale tab. I'm gonna load up YouTube, and I'm gonna go to YouTube Studio, and I'm gonna go to the content tab, and I'm gonna go to live, and then I'm gonna open up the thing for this stream, and now I can see chat. And it's updating. Good. Got a super chat. Where? No, I'm up to date. I read them all. Oh, no, wait. No, I didn't. I missed that last one. Pam the Creator, thank you for the super chat. I know your YouTube channel since 1 year. It helped me with doing my 18+ webtoon called The Amazing Zarya. If maybe you want to read it, then thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Congrats on making comics. That's awesome. Heck yeah, make comics. I think I'm almost done here at this point. We thought you were locked in. I was, unintentionally. Gonna do just like a little bit of lightning effects. Just for funsies. Where's my lightning brush? I have one of those. I have a brush that is lightning. Achoo. Wow. Lightning. It goes. Goodness gracious, great balls of lightning. It's happening. But you. But anyway, that aside, I think we are gonna go ahead and call it for the evening because I think this baby is done. I think this baby Blorboblebus is done, y'all. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't give them highlights. Didn't give them little highlights on their horns is what I didn't do. There. So there's Cameron. There's the baby. Baby Blorboblebus. And now I will put them side by side. Pink and purple babies! They're friends! This is like height accurate. They are friends! They are friends! Baby Blorboblebuses. Alright, but with that, I do think I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the day because I'm tired. I'm tired, gamers, and I want to go play a horse game. Me too, Milo. Me too. Alright. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. Our next stream will be on Wednesday, where we will be drawing the final character of this trio, final character for the video. But until then, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you all next time. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Fare thee well, my friends. Goodbye!